Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. This is my G80 M3, and today I am super excited because not only are we installing some brand new Pure Stage 2 Plus turbos with a few while you're there mods, but once the car is all back together, HCP is going to dial the car in with boot mode using Rev 2 for the most power on our in-house dyno jet to make it the absolute best daily driver that's racetrack ready. Now, what I love most about the G80 M3 is that it does absolutely everything well, and today we're only gonna make it better. I wanted a car that could go crazy fast, yes, in a straight line, but also on a curved track. Something comfortable enough that if I wanted to take, say, a 20-hour road trip to go down to Beamer Invasion, that it was no challenge at all, and something that just had some practical comforts for my family of 5. And this car checks off absolutely every box. Now, since we're going wheels up, I did pick up a few other complementary modifications to make sure this is the best that it can be, like the CSF auxiliary radiators. These are gonna make sure that everything stays nice and cool. We have Kies MONOBALLS. These are a tremendous upgrade if you're looking to add stability on and off the track to your car. A CANCHECKED vent gauge to make sure I can keep an eye on all of the parameters that are necessary. EBC brake pads to make sure I can stop my newfound power. LIQUI MOLY fluid refresh, and so much more. So with that, let's put the car up in the air and get started. All right, my old turbos are off, and it is time to install our Pure Stage 2 Plus turbos, which are capable of 1,000 horsepower on the S58. Not only do they fit the G Series M3, they work on the G Series M2, M3, M4, X3M, and X4M. What I love about them is they take an OEM housing and they upgrade the bearings, they upgrade the wheels, and they make them capable of, like I said, 1,000 horsepower in a stock frame. So they're going to bolt up just like factory turbos. It can't get any easier when it comes to installing turbos. Now, if you followed our channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been using Pure turbos since probably like 2017. We've installed them on a ton of my personal cars, customer cars, friends' cars, and I do have a set for the 992, 911, and I am super pumped about them. So be sure to stay tuned because we have more Pure content, not only for BMW, but now branching out into Porsche as well. Now, when it comes to any turbo, whether it is a Pure turbo, a factory turbo, one of Andrew's M340i turbos that are as big as my head, I always recommend using LIQUI MOLY's turbo additive. What this does is it acts as an initial lubricant since there's no oil in the system right now. What you do is you just squirt this into the oil feed and it sticks inside. So when you do your first startup and this wheel starts spinning at crazy speeds, everything is properly lubricated and it gives the system time to get that fresh oil in there, making sure that you have A, the most power, and B, the most reliability. So with that, let's drop in some of our LIQUI MOLY turbo additive and then we'll throw the turbos on the car. All right, the reassembly process is going great. It finally looks like a car again. Can't wait to actually drive it. But before so, we need to refill our oil. For this car, we use LIQUI MOLY's SpecialTech 5W30. This meets and exceeds BMW's very strict requirements that they have for oil to ensure that we have the most power and the longest life. So let's throw in some LIQUI MOLY. All right, the Pure turbos are fully installed. I just need to do some basic reassembly at this point. So let me put everything back together and I'll get you guys to the next mod. Next up, we're going to be keeping our cool with some CSF auxiliary radiators. But instead of me just telling you about why they're better and why I'm installing them, let me show you instead. right, so now that we have the old one removed, let's compare them. So if you take a look over here, this is my factory unit. And one of the things that drives me nuts is you spend so much money on a BMW and they literally give you a cooler that is literally just crimped onto plastic end tanks. Where with CSF, check it out, it's all this nice TIG welding and everything is metal, ensuring strength and durability. Not to mention the size difference for better cooling, but look at it. They have it so it is direct plug and play for that factory unit with no modification required. Then when it comes to protection, check this out. It has this really nice metal stone guard where BMW has this plastic one that really just likes to collect leaves. So with that, let's throw them in. All right, the CSF coolers are fully installed on the driver's side and the passenger side. And since I have everything still apart, it is the optimal time to upgrade our control arms to have monoballs. So with that, let me pull out the old one and I'll show you why. All right, so now that we have it off the car, this is the factory control arm from the G80 M3. And look at this bushing. There is so much rubber in there. And what happens with that is you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of play. One of the worst consequences of this on and off the track is as you're braking or accelerating hard, you're actually going to get a little bit of toe in and toe out. But what you do to stop it is you add a solid piece of aluminum with a little bearing. These are our Kies monoballs. These are precision engineered in the Netherlands for the highest quality possible. The slop is gone. Your car is going to stay nice and straight, and it's going to not only help you on the track, but for this car, I'm about to drive it 20 hours. I want to have stability on the road as well. So let's throw them in. All right, so as you just saw, the Kies monoballs install super easily. You do need a press, but it's a very easy process. Now, whenever you're doing anything suspension related on your car, it's always recommended that you get a proper alignment, which we're going to do off camera. But before we take the car to align, we have some interior mods, so let's put the car back together, put it back on the ground, and continue along. Now for the interior mods, we just have two things, and one technically isn't a mod, but I'll get to that in 1 second. First up, we're going to be installing a CANCHECKED. We absolutely love these. If you don't know what it is this little convenient vent gauge. This is a full color LCD screen with touch functionality. It's going to give you access to everything that your engine is doing. It's going to show you your temperatures, your boosts, your timing, even does things like 0 to 60 and so much more. It's like having a full data logging. It literally does that computer in your dash. And you can configure it to look different and display whatever criteria you want it to do. There is nothing like it on the market. Now, as we said earlier in the video, we have a show down in Florida. It's 20 hours each way. And while I absolutely love these Recaro podiums, I think these are the best aftermarket seats that were ever made. I don't know if I'm going to love them, especially with Andrew in the car. So we are going to be reverting these back to stock for now. These will probably come back at some point, but I have to make sure that my back isn't going to be destroyed on a 40-hour drive. So with that, let's start with the CANCHECKED. All right, now while I'm doing this, I really should disconnect my battery, but as happens to you probably, I can't find a 10 mil. But I always know where there's a spare, and that's with our Kies hood latch, because always got one in the car. All right, got the factory seats back in. Now I just need to bolt them in. But before I do so, I'm going to make sure that I have our Kies stealth fire extinguisher. This mounts securely under these two bolts over here. It's super low profile, so your passenger won't kick it. My wife actually approves of this one, unlike my big fire extinguisher. And it's going to keep us safe on our long drive and at the track. All right, we got our can checked in. This thing is absolutely incredible. I'm putting these in every single one of my cars. You can configure all of this data and it is amazing. You can even data log with it. Now, speaking of data logging, we're gonna head over to the dyno right now. Halim is waiting for me. We have boot mode, we have Rev 2. The only thing we don't have is a solid tune. So let's head over there and see what kind of power we can make. All right, for today's dyno session, HCP will be remoting in to tune the car on boot mode with the all-new Rev 2, and I can't wait. Now, because I want this car to be a great all-around car, we're going to be doing 2 maps today, which I can switch on the fly all from my steering wheel thanks to boot mode. Map 1 is going to be set with a flex fuel map, so I can run it on 93 octane, E85, or any combination of the two, and it's going to auto-adjust my map without needing to reflash. Now, for map 2, I wanted it to be set up for a circuit track, so that way I don't have all this crazy power. I wanted a flat torque, low power map. So that's what we're going to be doing. And for this map, it's going to be strictly 93 octane. All right, starting with the flex fuel map, Halim sent me the base tune, and after just a few revisions, we ended up at 653 horsepower to the wheels and 590 foot-pounds of torque, all on 93 octane. Now, since we have 93 octane in the tank, before we start to add E85 and whatnot, I want to configure our map 2, which is our flat torque map for the track. So let's see what it can do. All right, our low power flat torque map ended us at 560 horsepower and 460 foot-pound torque. Halim did offer to take it up from there, but I want to keep it nice and low, especially since I haven't been on a circuit track in a while, and work my way up. And honestly, if I want to add another 100 horsepower roughly, all I need to do is put it back on map 1. So it's a super simple setup, and it's going to be great for all situations. All right, from there, we filled the tank with E85 and had some fun. Immediately bumped up on our first run to 875 wheel horsepower and 761 foot-pound torque. And again, this is a true flex fuel, so I didn't make any tune adjustments. All we did was drop in E85 and the power went sky high. But while that is an impressive number, we do have a built motor and a built trans, so we might as well keep going. So let's do another run. All right, that run, we hit 995 horsepower and 844 foot-pounds of torque. But we can't leave it that close, so Halim's going to turn up the magic just a little bit more, and we'll see what we can get. And just like that, we crossed the 4-digit mile marker. We landed at 1,016 horsepower to the wheels and 866 foot-pound torque. Absolutely amazing numbers, but just to make sure that these power numbers are accurate, let's do it again. My goodness gracious, yo. All right, as you saw back to back, these numbers were almost perfectly the same. Both runs landed us at 1016 to the wheels for the horsepower and 866 with some very, very subtle differences. Absolutely incredible how consistent this setup is. Again, it is a testament to Halim, boot mode, and Rev 2, the ultimate combo. And hey, you know what? Those pure turbos are definitely helping pump some air in there. All right, so to sum it up, map 1 is going to give me on the low end 653 horsepower on 93 octane, and all I need to do is if I want more power, I just put more E85 in and I can get it up to about 1016 to the wheels. Absolutely incredible horsepower numbers. And for map 2, like I said, flat torque, we're just gonna leave it at a cool 560, and that's going to be more than enough. But like I said, with boot mode, all you need to do is just switch the maps on the fly from the steering wheel. So if I want to bump it from 560 to that 653, it is a super simple process. All right, now that the car is dialed in, let's drive it 20 hours. Yes, we are driving my now 1,000 horsepower car down to Florida because I feel that comfortable in the stability of the car, the tuning, and this entire setup. So let's drive it 20 hours all the way down to Florida. All right, right now we've been driving for about 5 hours and we landed here at KLM. Not only are we here for a visit, but they are currently building Andrew's new engine for his M340i. So let's take a look inside. So we are at KLM's new building. We have their R8 over here. We have an M2 over there. And then over here, we have Max's car. There you go. Look at that nice Kies brace on there. Boom. Is this one yours?
Yeah, I think so. This is Andrew.
Look at that. All right, so Andrew's gonna put his own pistons in with a little help.
With lots of confidence.
All right, thanks to Josh's help over here, Andrew put piston 1 in and I put piston 2. So if either of those failed, we have video documentation on who did it. All right, guys, after driving for a few more hours, we made it down to our next destination. We are now at Insomnia Motorsports in North Carolina. If you guys don't know Matt Meadows, he has built some of the craziest and the fastest modern BMWs. Let's go inside and check out his shop. Look at this. Before we even get in, we've got a nice 240 over here. Looks like a Supra, a couple other things under covers. And then over here, we've got even more cars. As you can see, he runs a Pro Hub dyno, the same thing that KLM and many others around the world are running. Absolutely awesome dyno. Now, one of the things that Matt's helping us with is we are going to be putting a transmission from a G80 M3 in Andrew's M340i, and he is the mastermind behind how this is actually going to come together and make some serious power. All right, little update for you. We got to our hotel in Charleston, South Carolina around 2 a.m. and the car has been doing absolutely phenomenal. No issues at all. We're down here now at GSC for an 8 a.m. meeting. Let's head inside and check it out. you can see with the palm trees behind me, we made it to Beamer Invasion down here in West Palm Beach. We did about 20 hours of driving in the G80 M3, and with boot mode, Rev 2, and Halim's magical tune, this thing drove absolutely incredible. We averaged about 27 miles per gallon on 93, and the car literally drives like stock unless you put your foot down. Then it is an absolute monster, even on 93. Not a single issue at all. Everything went perfectly smooth. So now that we're at the show, let's check it out. We are wrapping up and packing up the booth down here at Beamer Invasion West Palm. If you guys weren't here, you totally missed out. There was over 8,000 cars in an incredible event, but now it's time to hit the road back in the G80. We have a 1,200 mile, 20-hour drive back home where we continue with the mods and then hit the racetrack. All right, we just got back from our 2,500 mile road trip down to Florida to be with the guys at Beamer Invasion, but we're back now to prep for our next event, which is this coming weekend. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday track event with BMW CCA New Jersey at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Now, to prepare for this, we're going to be doing a few essential things. First up, I'm going to be doing yet another oil change. Although this oil only has 2,500 miles on it, when you're pushing your car to its limits, it's always a really good, cheap insurance policy to do a basic oil change. It'll cost you $100 or so. Definitely worthwhile. Another worthwhile thing to do is change out your brake fluid. You're supposed to do this every 2 years because it's hydroscopic and it absorbs water over time, but tracks are going to typically want to see that you've done a brake flush within the last 6 months or sooner of an event. I like to do it right before just to make sure I have that fluid as fresh as possible. And then, as you can see on the table, we have some EBC RPX track pads. I currently have EBC red stuff, which are track worthy, but these are just a little bit better, so I'm going to be installing these on the car. Then once we're done our oil change and the brakes on the G80, I am going to put on another set of wheels. As you can see on the car, I have my 20-inch Apex VS5RS. Absolutely love these wheels. I have them with an all-season Continental DWS 06 Plus, the best all-season tire that I have ever driven on. I have these on a ton of my cars. Now, when I take the car drag racing, I have a set of these, but in 18s, and I have Mickey Thompson's on there. And then on my stock wheels, I have R888Rs from Toyo. So let's install those once we're done everything here to make sure that we have the proper tire setup for the track. So with that, let's get started. All right, with that, the G80 M3 is ready for the track, but before we head out, I do need to do a couple things to the 911, so let's throw that on the lift before we hit the track. All right, we made it here to Millville, New Jersey Motorsports Park for the BMW CCA event with the New Jersey chapter. So as you can see behind me, we have my G80 M3 over there. My dad is going to be driving my 992 911, and then Andrew has his F80 M3, and we're going to be hitting the track with all three cars today. Now, if you're not familiar with what they do here at the BMW CCA, these are typically HPDE, which is high performance driving education classes, where they're going to actually teach you how to drive on the track in the classroom setting, and then set you up one-on-one with an instructor in your car, and you're gonna hit the track to learn everything you just learned in the classroom. So with that, let's get the car through tech, we'll hit the classroom, and then we'll hit the track. Even after our 2,500-mile trip to and from Florida for Invasion, we went full throttle with BMW CCA New Jersey at NJMP for 9 20-minute sessions on the track, and it handled like a champ. Now, while we do have a truck and an enclosed trailer, this setup is so solid, we left all of that at home, driving the car to the event and back home without issue. The mods we did in today's video, from the MONOBALLS to the new CSF coolers, Halim's tuning, boot mode, rev tool, pure turbos, all of that was absolutely incredible. And Halim's flat torque map made the car almost feel like an NA car, which was perfect for the occasion on the road course. And with the simple flip of a map and fuel, we can throw on some drag radials and take it to the drag strip and double the horsepower. As I said earlier, the G80 is, in my opinion, the most well-rounded car on the road, and with the right modifications and tuning, you can have an absolute beast that handles road trips, road courses, drag strips, and anything you can possibly throw at it. If you're interested to learn more about every single thing we've ever done to this car, we don't hold back any secrets. We have everything listed out for you down below. And if you're looking to build your car, whether it's a BMW, Porsche, or other model, just email my team at info@kies.com and we can help guide you along the way. Once again, my name is Brian. Thanks for watching today's video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Check us out at Kies.com, and we'll see you in the next video.